Alrighty then, Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 661, Reading Time versus Writing Time. There's Stanley. We've already been in the woods once today. Reading time versus writing time. I'd like to think that all great authors were great readers first, because that's where you get your ideas, that's where you learn how to shape prose. You don't necessarily internalize it until after you see it the second time. And that second time is when you write. And you're like, it just doesn't feel right. And that's because you've read so much, it's in there. How to do this is all in your head. And then when you start writing, you see that something might be a little bit off. That's because you already know what a good-looking story looks like, what good flow, what good paragraphs look like on the page. So reading is research and training. Now, once you become an author, you'll read a little bit differently. And that's unfortunate because sometimes you're a little more critical when you read than you need to be. Don't bag on other authors. Don't jump online and say, oh my God, I just read this book that I used to love and it's horrible. And here, look at this, look at it. Nah, don't. Just take the lessons that are good for your writing and incorporate them. The way somebody shapes a paragraph, the way somebody shapes a message, the way they use dialogue to create a scene as opposed to a narrative, how they use passive voice effectively. Yeah, you don't have to eliminate all passive voice. No, not at all. Passive voice is very impactful, especially in dialogue. I digress. But in dialogue, when somebody wants to avoid taking responsibility for something, they'll use passive voice. Yeah, that happened. Did you do it or not? I mean, your kids are experts at using passive voice. So learn from the best. Read as much as you can, and don't read exclusively in your genre. When you read into other genres, then you find different ways and different approaches and unique approaches. Because just like generative AI, everybody looks at what they expect to see next. Well, what if you're reading in a genre that doesn't have those same expectations? Like for me, it's science fiction. You read other things. Westerns are great. Look at how Louis L'Amour shapes his and keeps his story moving forward. So good. Even though, hey, this is a Western. All right. Yeah, Westerns are good. Romance is good. I picked up Lucy Score's books and read those because how that narrative, how the people interact, and the words used to help shape that stuff, you learn through reading. I'd say read every day, just like I suggest people write every day, within what works for you. Writing every day doesn't work for everybody. It works for me, and I think it's really important that I write for every day because it becomes too easy not to write. And as I don't want to instill that habit. I want the habit of writing every day, and that's what I like to do. And also, when I need to escape, I write. I've got my stories. I've got plenty of stories in the works. One primarily, but two on the back burner, ready to go into the breach and head downrange as soon as I'm able. So read every day, write every day, learn from the best. Pick those authors out there who are top of the charts. They're at the top of the charts for a reason. And yes, marketing comes into play, but more so the readers love that story. You can't tell the readers, hey, you're going to love this more than once. So if somebody's got 3 books at the top of the charts, you can guarantee those are good stories, even if you don't think they're good for you. Look how the words shape the message and elicit the emotions from the reader. Readers may not necessarily remember exactly the words they read, but they will remember how it made them feel, and that it was you who wrote that story. So keep that in mind. Learn and put it into practice in your own stuff. Hopefully that helps. Reading time versus writing time. Peace, fellow humans.